This program was made possible by contributions to your Hayden_IRL station from viewers like you. Thank you.
Neither Pokemon nor Kirby need an introduction, so I'm not going to give them one. What does need some explaining though is this Kirby Pokemon Nuzlocke challenge run I originally saw from Kirby Nuzlocke Master Don Schnack here on YouTube. Utilizing the Kirby mod for BDSP by Ysanel, I'm going to take on the center region with a plethora of puffballs by my side. The only catch is if they faint, they're gone forever. And to make it really interesting, I'm going to take a punishment based on the type of each Kirby that I lose. Yoinking and twisting Don's rule set, I will start with 2 Kirbys and catch 2 more Kirbys between every gym leader. The order in which Kirbys will be attained are here in this handy dandy chart that we'll reference back to as the video goes on. Also, the rest of the Nuzlocke rules apply. Set battles, fainted Pokemon are gone, if I wipe it's game over, no overleveling, and, despite accidentally giving me all of every item, no healing items during battle. Is that settled? Let's get into my scariest challenge video to date. Like we have to do anytime we start one of these games, I have to change my text speed to fast. Also fast is my rival Dedede, who launches right into the intro of the game and the biggest mash fest I've had in a while. At least now we can dispose of this Pokemon and get into the real business, Kirby. I decide that I'll start with 2 for this first section of the game, my normal Kirby named Poyo, and my fire Kirby named Hothead. Within reason, I will try to name my Kirbys after the enemy they get their ability from so that I don't get confused. I grind up my Kirbys a little bit on the way to Jubilite so I can beat up these kids, and acquire a cool new watch. How Kirby can wear this watch without wrists, or arms, I don't know, and I don't care, so I'm preoccupied mashing Stomp against my rival. We're adults though, and the time for mashing is over. Now it's time to actually start planning things out, as our next big battle is going to be the Oreburgh Gym Leader, a Rock-type trainer. If you haven't already zoned out to watch Family Guy clips on TikTok, then you'd know we only have a normal type and a fire type, which is going to make this gym really hard. I'm just kidding. We are given the TM Rock Smash before we even get into the city, and luckily all my Kirbys can learn it. I guess I shouldn't be too shocked considering Kirby's literally used Rock Smash on the entire planet Popstar, but hey, you never know. Rourke is out of the gym, so before we send him back and fight, I'm gonna go do a little bit of pre-gym grinding, and I mean it when I say a little, as Rourke's strongest Pokemon is only level 14, so give me a second while I get that done. I decided to do the last of my grinding on the gym trainers, which taught me something very important. No matter how many levels I have, or no matter how effective Rock Smash is, the defense on these Rock-type Pokemon is going to let them do their fair share of damage. This means there's not really a scenario where I can risk Hothead coming out. Without further ado, Rourke. Geodude uses his short time in this battle to Defense Curl and Stealth Rock. Stealth Rock is a good move, and it would be scary if I had any intention of sending out my other Pokemon. He does roll out 1/5 of my health away, but nothing Kirby can't handle. I immediately get a lucky defense debuff on Onyx, which based on how much damage he did with Rock Throw was necessary for taking him out with enough health for the ace of this battle, Cranidos. Cranidos is scary for 2 reasons, Bulldoze and Headbutt. Bulldoze does whatever damage, but will slow Kirby enough to not outspeed, and Headbutt may make Kirby flinch if it attacks first, which is way more likely when you get slowed down by Bulldoze. This dastardly combo is exactly what Rourke went for too. Knowing this could get dicey, I pop an X defense and get hit with Headbutt. Seeing how much damage this move still did, I went for Tearful Look, lowering Cranidos' attack. This is risky, but I know I don't have the attack necessary to win without it, especially considering I lost my attack first privileges to the following Bulldoze. And I flinch before I can even get out my Rock Smash. His second Headbutt leaves me with only 2 health, so this Rock Smash needs to count. Oh. At least it got a defense debuff? This looks bad, but there's one thing here that may save me. Potions. Every gym leader in this game has a certain number of healing items they can use, and this will probably get annoying late in the game. This time, however, it's exactly what we need. Rourke heals Cranidos instead of sneezing on Poyo to knock it out, allowing for my now stronger Rock Smash to finish off his Cranidos, winning the gym. We're just starting this challenge, I can't already be clutching my pearls like this. I can, however, catch 2 more Kirbys, these being the Rock type, aptly titled Rocky, and the Fairy type Waddle-Doo. They're a little behind on levels, so they need to be trained. How better to do so than against our first Galactic grunts. Dawn used an actual Pokemon instead of a Kirby, but in spite of that hiccup, we still won this one. The Galactic training doesn't end here either, as I'm going to take Waddle-Doo and Rocky to clear out the neighboring Floroma town. Oh, I only planned on searching up teams for big fights, and I didn't consider Mars as a big one. I should have though, because then I would have been ready for the supersonic and fake-out stalling that she used against Waddle-Doo, long enough for him to die to a shockingly powerful scratch. I eventually whittle it down with the rest of my team and save the scientist to reunite with his daughter, but what is it even worth? Not just because I lost to Kirby, but because now I need to face my first punishment. This is my first punishment, and unfortunately one of the types I was least prepared for. Physical punishment didn't feel right for something like the fairy typing, so I wanted something more emotional. I went to Amazon and bought some fairy gear before signing myself up for the local cidery's comedy night. Listen, I put myself out there a lot for these videos, but that didn't even begin to prepare me for whatever this was.
Pick a card. Yeah. Do I look at it? Do I show you?
You show everyone else. Alright, so she's gonna show everyone else. I'm not gonna be able to see the card. But, check this out. Is this your card?
No.
Is this your card? Okay. Is this your card?
Yes.
Is it?
No.
Okay, give me 1 sec.
I don't see my card.
But what's this? A card that's not the same color as the others. Is this your card?
No.
Okay, so anyway, I've not done this before if you can't tell. I had to check my notes. I don't exactly remember what's going to be coming next. Oh, I dropped something. Give me a second to unfold this. All right. Is this your card?
Moving on from our loss, the next big fight is in the grass gym. It should be a lot easier. First, we gotta carry Cheryl through the Eterna Forest though. Chansey isn't super helpful, only using Life Dew, but this should still be some great experience. Rocky needs it the most, so I'm gonna use him as much as possible, like against these Abra. Oh geez, that did a lot of damage. I didn't know they knew Energy Ball. Wait, if one of them knows it, then the other one does too, doesn't it? Well shoot. Waddle-Doo you could have argued was gross negligent, but this one I really didn't know any better. But no time for jokes, because now it's time to get on to my second punishment of this challenge before we even make it to the second gym. I wanted to pull a Wile E. Coyote and do something like this, but Kaylee stepped in and said, quote, no, unquote. So instead, I brought back friend of the channel Brandon to dish out some pain. If I can't use a rock, I will simply copy the moves of the rock. After some research, Brandon was ready to hit me with the classic rock bottom into people's elbow combo. Hothead cleans up the rest of the forest and the entirety of the gym too. I would try to hype it up, but there isn't too much to say. Gardenia's ace is Roserade, level 22. The only move we have to be afraid of is Stun Spore, which paralyzes its opponent, and it sure did work. But being paralyzed doesn't matter if all of her grass moves can't put a dent in Hothead's health. With this, I get the badge, some stickers, and 2 more Kirbys. Maybe this time, I won't lose them immediately. Say hello to Sandran and Leafin, the ground and grass type additions to my team. As you can tell, they're not up to par with this point in the game, and to avoid past mistakes, I need to get them trained. Like clockwork, we now need to take on Team Galactic once again, leading to a battle with another captain, Commander Jupiter. She confuses Sandran and traps him in with Mean Look, but even the super effective Absorb doesn't make Zubat anything to be afraid of. If you're wondering why I sent a ground type into the flying Zubat, it's because I knew her next Pokemon was Skuntank, who can't stomach its mud bombs and crumbles like the sandcastles I'm hitting it with. This fight wins us a bike, or car, and now we can move on through Cycling Road. Entering Mount Coronet is where we meet Cyrus, who kinda just trauma dumps on us before leaving. I hope he finds a support system to talk to that isn't a pink puffball he just met in a cave. Moving on, Rival Fight 2. I went into this fight feeling pretty good, and not even a really scary endeavor or 2 bite flinches were enough to bring me down. 300 trainers over 100 routes later, we finally make it to Veilstone City, where we can take on the fighting gym. Based on the trouble I had against the last double battle on this route, however, I'm going to need to prepare beforehand for this one. First, I buy a couple TMs, Flamethrower for obvious reasons you'll see soon, and U-Turn for easier switch outs moving forward. The third gym is Fighting type, which is mostly neutral for my team, allowing me to get through the trainers with no problem. Maylene, however, does require a little more effort. First out is Metatype, who sets up a light screen and drain punches Leafin way faster than he can deal damage. I send out Sandrin, but it's more of the same, except now Metatype has used Bulk Up, making it even scarier. I have to switch again, now into Hothead. Suspiciously, she switches into Macho, but it's the same turn as her light screen wears off, so it fails to equip Flamethrower. Metatype comes out and I take it out with Flame Charge, giving me enough speed to stand a chance against Maylene's ace, Lucario. Lucario is scary because of its move. Oh yeah, I don't have anything to be afraid of. Being able to buy Flamethrower in the same town made it so I was able to burn Lucario before he could even decide on an attack. As we leave the gym, Dawn lets us know that we have to go fight Team Galactic again before we can move to the next part of the game. Who would have guessed? Before we can do that, I have to go catch 2 more Kirbys. Thanks to Blade Knight and Sparky here, we'll finally have a full team of 6. Obviously, they aren't leveled high enough, so I'm going to take the rest of my team out to avoid overleveling and go grind up. There, that's better. The Team Galactic battle isn't a hard one, and now we have Fly. There isn't much between now and the next gym, so I'm just going to fast forward a bit. Part of my reasoning for skipping ahead here is that this section is boring. The next gym is not any higher level than Maylene's, so I can't fight any trainers before the gym, because I really have to make sure I'm sticking to those Nuzlocke rules. Speaking of the gym trainers, they're all kind of pushovers. I just throw my Pokemon that aren't Sparky or Leafin at them because I don't want to go back and heal before the big fight. And the big fight really wasn't that. Let me draw it out for you. Sparky has 4 times damage on Gyarados. Leafin has 4 times damage on Quagsire, and either one did enough damage to Floatzel to make this the cleanest sweep thus far. No time to celebrate though, as before we can even grab our next Kirbys, we have to fight our rival once again. He, similarly to Crasher Wake, loses out almost entirely to one electric type, and now that we have Fly, going down to catch and train 2 more Kirbys will be faster than ever. Say hello to Chili and Armoroid. Even though Sparky has been the GOAT in the past 2 fights, Armoroid covers the same types as him and Blade Knight, so they will sit out for now. To test out Armoroid's new abilities, I had to take out this Team Galactic grunt I chased down because I don't have any legs that can get sore. I healed some Psyduck, learned some lore, and then come to the realization that I didn't have to take Sparky out at all. Poyo is cool, but what is a normal type Kirby really bringing to the party that Sparky couldn't? Nothing. And that's why Poyo is going to the waiting room and Sparky is back on the roster. Just in time too, as I'm able to take on the Ghost Gym now in Hearthome City. It's a Ghost type gym, but I don't have to fight any of the trainers because I answer all of the math questions correctly, finally having an opportunity to use this college degree. As the battle begins, Chili gets his first spotlight, using his super effective Ice Beam to waste away all of Fantina's Hyper Potions, and with Hail active, Drifloon can't even hit Chili when it does attack, thanks to Chili's Snow Cloak. Riding this high evasiveness stat, I leave Chili out against Gengar, hoping to maybe get a freeze. I didn't get a freeze though, and the hail subsided, and Shadow Claw did enough damage to take Chili out. Armoroid comes out to avenge Chili with a quick Shift Ear and Magnet Bomb. Last is Miss Magius, Fantina's ace. It knows Confuse Ray and Phantom Force, which makes all moves miss for 1 turn. This increases the amount of confusion checks you have to win to land a hit. Kind of a fun strategy, but admittedly a couple flamethrowers and this battle's done. It's bittersweet though, I really liked Chili. Heck, I just bought Ice Beam for him. Ice isn't a great type, so he probably wasn't going to stick around too long anyway, but I really liked the idea of having an Ice type for one specific Pokemon we're going to see at the end of the game. A problem delayed is a problem denied though, so let's go do a punishment and catch a couple more Kirbys. This video took quite a while from conceptualization to completion. Long enough for summer to pass and the cold weather to set in once again, before I could suffer my ice punishment, pouring a bunch of ice into my shorts. To ensure maximum efficiency, I rubber banded my pant legs shut, which made for a significantly weirder experience.
That's really all in one leg.
This is Tedon and Dribbly, joining us just in time for another rival battle. I didn't search this one up beforehand, so I didn't know any better than to send the ghost type in that couldn't hit Saravia. Luckily, its double teams weren't enough to keep Sparky from shocking it out of the sky. The rest of the fight goes the same way, tagging in super effective Pokemon and not getting punished almost at all. For the first time in a while, we don't have any Team Galactic business to take care of, and we get to take on the 6th gym. Throughout most of the gym trainers, I tried to use Sandrin, but once we get up to Byron, Hothead is going to become my lead. I do this because I know he's going to lead with Bronzor, who has Levitate. Despite it being his only Pokemon without Sturdy, it still manages to live and use Trick Room. Make sure you pay attention to this because I did not. I Flamethrower down Bronzor and keep Hothead out against Steelix. I don't know what was going through my head for sure. Maybe that Hothead was my strongest Pokemon at the time, or even that I wanted to save Sandrin for the 4-time super effective against Bastiodon. I know what wasn't going through my head though, the fact that Trick Room was still active. For the uninitiated, Trick Room makes it so the slower Pokemon attacks first. For example, just throwing something out there, if your Steelix is slower than Fire Kirby and uses Earthquake, it'll hit before Kirby can attack and render it knocked out. I send out Sandrin, who takes more than I'd like to against an Earthquake, before the Trick Room goes down, allowing him to beat Steelix. Now I'm antsy, so I return Sandrin and send out Dribbly. He's a little lower level, but the super effective Bubble Beam should help deal some damage before Sandrin goes in for the kill. What I didn't realize though, is that Bastiodon knows Thunderbolt, and that's game over for Dribbly, someone who I don't think's gotten any screen time prior to this event. Sandrin finished the battle, but I don't have time to talk about it as I have another 2 punishments to go indoor. First, I get to heat things up with a nice teaspoon of DaBomb hot sauce. This isn't the hottest hot sauce offered in terms of Scovilles, but there's something about it, like the way it's made or something, that's supposed to make it feel hotter. I really don't know how the science works, I just know that it does not feel good.
It's hot. Ooh, that's hot.
I'm surprised you haven't. Proud of you.
There it is.
Minutes later.
And I'm trying to get like cool air in there.
You want me to blow into your mouth?
I really don't.
Luckily, I get to cool off with some water. Like, a lot of water. Like, 100 plus water balloons dropped from the second story window.
Yeah.
I'm wet. It missed.
I hate being wet, so the aftermath of this one wasn't great. But I won't lie, the actual act was kind of fun. As 2 doors close, 2 more open. And by that, I mean say hello to Biospark and NESP. They joined me just in time to do everyone's favorite RPG activity, mashing through another exposition drop. Luckily for me though, this one is cut short by an explosion at one of the Great Lakes, and now I need to go investigate the previously blocked Lake Valor. Luckily at the end of this road is Commander Saturn. A mini-boss like this would be scary in any situation where he didn't use Pokemon that were weak to my 2 new additions. Luckily, that wasn't the case, and the new recruits proved their worth in a swift win. Even less exciting is the pursuit of Commander Mars, except for the fact that I learned Sparky and Sandrin are the ultimate doubles combo. Sandrin's Sandstorm hurts Sparky, but Sparky's Parabolic Charge hits all Pokemon except for Sandrin to heal that health back. It's perfect. I need to go help DDD at the last lakefront, but despite having played the Sinnoh games like 1,000 times, I forgot to get Strength, and have to face the Lost Power almost 20 levels over level. Oops. I teach my Kirby some new moves, take on Route 216, almost lose NESP to Mirror Coat, and level everyone up to where they're ready to face the next challenge, the Ice-type leader, Candace. Who is Candace, you ask? Can this challenge get any easier? The answer is no, well, probably. But hey, the fight was a breeze. Biospark places some toxic spikes before drain punching both Snover and Sneasel into oblivion. Then Tedhon gets Candace to waste her potions on Medicham by dealing the perfect amount of damage with Shadow Claw. All that's left is her ace Abomasnow, who does a lot of damage with Blizzard, but not enough to keep NESP from redeeming himself from that close call in the last route. Because we've been doing such a super job at this challenge thus far, beating the 7th gym gives me access to my first 2 super copy abilities. Replacing Sparky and Tedhon on the team for now is Super Waddle-Doo and Super Hothead. These are stronger versions of our previously fallen brothers, in which whom I really hope we don't lose, because I don't think I can do that fairy-type punishment again. We make our way to DDD at the lakefront, but we're too late. Maybe I shouldn't have taken that detour to the gym battle. Either way, now we get to test our supercharged puffballs at the Veilstone headquarters of Team Galactic. And supercharged they are. Just look at this insane attack animation. This is literally what its draining kiss looks like. Imagine what an actual electric attack would be. We kind of just do this a bunch of times until we reach the end of the dungeon, with these conveniently placed hallway beds. Here lies Cyrus, and I won't lie, I was expecting the figurehead of Team Galactic to have more than 3 Pokemon, and for at least one of those Pokemon to be fully evolved. I'm not Goku though, so a fair fight isn't something I need, and we knock him out. I can't go stop him at Mount Coronet until I save the Lake Trio though, so now let's dish out the same pain to Commander Saturn. Again. And with the Lake Trio free, we can follow our ghoulish pal Cyrus to the top of Mount Coronet. Cyrus invited a couple of friends on our date, Mars, Jupiter, and the ancient Pokemon of Time, Dialga. Luckily, I have a +1 as well, so me and Dedede take out the Galactic Commanders. Dedede's Infernape hit itself in confusion almost every possible time, but I wasn't busy, so I just sat through it like a man. Also, I KO'd his Staraptor like a petty baby, but that's neither here nor there. The Lake Trio we freed earlier ruined Cyrus's plan to control Dialga, so he throws a temper tantrum and shows me something closer to the team I expected to see earlier. His Pokemon are still notably weak to mine, but a tactical berry allowed his Gyarados to almost send me right back to the stand-up stage. Similarly, Weavile and its Dig attack give me a bit of trouble. Luckily, when a Pokemon is burned, its attack count is lowered, allowing Super Hothead to tank a Dig and burn his ace up. This battle gave me quite a bit more challenge than anything else recently, and served as a nice final gate between us and this game's legendary Dialga. Considering it isn't a Kirby though, I am not interested. Kick him to the curb, Sandrin. That was easy. It was good training for Sandrin too, as I think his ground typing will be particularly helpful in the upcoming Electric Gym. Volter starts with Raichu and I start with Sandrin, which should be an easy win, but his Raichu knows Surf. Despite what me telling you this might imply, Sandrin still beats Raichu, just with not enough health to be used anymore this fight. I know Volter's next Pokemon Ambipom has Fake Out, so I send in Biospark to tank it. Instead of Fake Out though, it used Double Hit, and it did a lot more damage than I'd have thought. It's no problem though. I sent out Biospark because he knows Drain Punch, and even if it's not a one-hit kill, it should heal enough so that a second double hit can't take me out. My calculations were perfect, except I didn't account for Ambipom's speed, which was higher than mine, and a second double hit destroyed Biospark. Sad. NESP comes out and uses Dream Eater to beat both Ambipom and the following Octillery, before my switch-out roulette begins to whittle away at Luxray. Not my proudest moment, being honest, but let's blame it on being flustered after Biospark's untimely demise. He was a Dark and Poison type, and I'm not really looking forward to what that means for me. Nothing screams Poison type like Sour Candy, more specifically Toxic Waste. 1 candy isn't a punishment though, and neither is 2, 3, 4, or 5. Maybe 6 will do the trick. Because Biospark was a Dark type too, we decided to wrap a blindfold on me too, cause why the heck not?
It's not great.
Hey, come on, shoot, 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 shoot. It's that bad. Yeah, and you have to spit it out. Okay. Is that bad?
What I am looking forward to is our next and final 2 Kirbys to join the team. This is Super Chili and Super Blade Knight. Due to its ice and ground typing, Super Chili will replace Sandrin, and Super Blade Knight will replace Biospark because he died. He even learned a Dark-type move in his honor. How sweet. With our new and hopefully final team, let's take on Victory Road. No matter how many times I've played these games over the past 18 years, I still struggle on Victory Road, so let's just do a little montage moment to get through it. Before we take on the final gauntlet, we have to face Dedede one last time, and let me just say this battle has given me some doubts. Super Chili's Avalanche Hail combo is enough to beat Staraptor turn 1, but not before close combat leaves him too hurt to fight any longer. This is especially true considering the next opponent is Infernape. I know he's going to go for close combat as well, so I send out NESP. He tanks it and preps to use Psychic before Infernape's Shadow Claw finished him off. This is actually a really painful loss because NESP has been a titan thus far, and I really only lost him because I refused to read the move list on my second monitor. Super Waddle-Doo finishes off Infernape and the subsequent Heracross with its Draining Kiss, which keeps it healed up enough in case we need him later. Roserade burns out against Super Hothead, and Leech Seed chips away at Snorlax's health to ensure me a win, with only one tragic loss. Let's go experience my psychic punishment. Appropriately, a psychic punishment should break down my mental, so I decided to cause lasting damage to my attention span by marathoning this 1-hour brain rot TikTok compilation. Sitting through this was pretty bad, but what's worse is a couple of them actually made me laugh. Before we can enter the Elite Four, now with the return of Tedhon, we need to spice up these Pokeballs. Let's run one more montage, a makeover montage. And now it's time to beat this game in style. First off is Aaron, and I figure he'll be a piece of cake because I have so many Pokemon that are good against bugs. We start off strong, as a Light Screen and Full Restore aren't enough for Dustoff to survive against my critical Heat Wave. I try to take out Heracross with Heat Wave too, but the results are less than stellar to say the least. Knowing that Heracross is going to use Facade, I switch into Tedhon for free. I knew that Heracross would be a problem as it knows a lot of coverage attacks. For this reason, I taught Tedhon Fly, and after a miss, it got the job done. For Beautifly and Vespiquen, I used Super Chili's super effective ice attacks. The final Pokemon is Drapion. It doesn't have the same weaknesses as the rest of Aaron's Pokemon, and it has something that is super effective to almost every single Pokemon I have. Because of this, I deploy possibly my scummiest strategy in this challenge so far. I send out Leafin to plant a Leech Seed, then, knowing he'll try to use Cross Poison on Leafin, switch into the Steel-type Super Blade Knight, which also heals him. Then, predicting the Earthquake, I switch back into Leafin, and the process begins anew. I end off when Super BK has enough HP to survive Earthquake, and finish the job with X-Scissor. This was the first and arguably easiest battle of the Elite Four, and I'm really getting scared about what I have ahead of me. Maybe my fears were misplaced though, as the next fight was quite a bit easier. Bertha's Quagsire doesn't even get to attack, failing to my Magical Leap. I know Wishcash has a Rainbow Berry, so I Leech Seed him knowing one hit won't be enough. I protect and then Magical Leaf to both burn his berry and get him into red, so that she'll use her Full Restore, and I can clean up. With Bulldoze having lowered my speed and Leafin already getting low on health, I send out Super Chili to Earth Power the Sudowoodo down. As for Golem, I know he can't hurt me too badly, so I set up Aurora Veil and use Blizzard to take him out. Luckily, Super Chili's Hail made it so his Sturdy ability can't activate. As for Hippowdon, it gets Super Chili inches from feigning, but 2 Blizzards are enough to take it without activating Bertha's Full Restore window. This fight went pretty well, and now we only have 3 fights left. Let's go meet Flint. Knowing that Flint would lead with Rapidash, I taught Super Blade Knight Waterfall. He gets hit with a Flame Charge, but gets Rapidash down to Full Restore %. Then 2 more Waterfalls, and a blessed Hypnosis miss, leaves Rapidash fainted. Flint sends out Lopunny, and I send out Super Hothead to call out the Flame Punch. We then go back and forth with Heat Waves and High Jump Kicks, until I decide that I can guarantee High Jump Kick recoil by sending out the Ghost-type Tedhon, having Lopunny fall to its own hubris. I then send out Super Chili for a quick KO on Steelix, before the part I dreaded the most. Super Waddle-Doo versus Drifblim. Drifblim is scary because it uses Minimize and Baton Pass to set up a hypothetically unstoppable Infernape, so after it used Minimize I knew I was in for something. Or, I could just get really lucky. I hit Infernape with Thunder Wave, so even if Super Waddle-Doo faints, I can still win. This almost comes true too, as he gets left with 22 health and a Dream, unleashing a massive Hyper Beam to finish Infernape off. That was lucky. Let's ride this high into Lucian. These vibes help Tedhon hold on with just 4 health to Shadow Claw both Mr. Mime and Alakazam into the Shadow Realm. Girafarig can't do much to me, so I take the time to set up Aurora Veil before avalanching him into the next Pokemon. Super Chili is really low on health, so I predict Medicham will use Zen Headbutt and send out Super Blade Knight as a response. Medicham, however, used High Jump Kick, and in spite of those moves' 90 accuracy, it hits for the kill. We almost made it through this whole Elite Four without a loss, so I guess I can't be surprised, but yikes does that hurt. I send out Super Waddle-Doo for an easy takeout, and then pray Super Hothead can take an Earthquake from Bronzong to end this off. And he does. Barely. The final battle is now only a couple paces forward, but I can't do that until I face what is hopefully my final punishment for this video. Super Blade Knight was a master of steel and swords, but I can't really do any punishments that involve swords because I can't afford to be out of work to go to the hospital. Instead, I take a much less dangerous yet equally as intimidating route, a mousetrap. I've seen these things kill mice, but I'm not a mouse, so how bad could it really be?
3, 2, 1, go.
That hurts. It's kind of like, it's like numb a little bit.
Alright.
Now is the time to admit that throughout this challenge, I've been collecting as many rare candies as I could, for just this moment. Using these and teaching most of my Pokemon U-turn, I'm now ready to face the final challenge. Chili is sent out to face against Spiritomb, where it sets up Hail and Aurora Veil. Chili and Spiritomb exchange some hits, but when nothing seems to be going anywhere, I decide to U-turn. Cynthia was thinking the same thing, and switches into my Lotic. Super Waddle-Doo has an electric attack and won't die to one Ice Beam, so I let them take care of it. One discharge isn't enough though, and within one turn, we both almost die. So the game of tag continues, with her switching into Gastrodon and me into Leafin. Leafin is fast, so even getting hit with 2 Rock Tombs isn't enough to keep it from going first and magical leafing for the first KO of the match, finally. Those 2 Rock Tombs did, however, make Leafin slower than the Roserade that followed. I go for U-turn, but fall to a Sludge Bomb before Leafin can escape. To save from breaking the rhythm of the final battle, I'm gonna save my punishment for after I beat Cynthia. Of course Super Hothead comes out next, and probably would have one-hit KO Roserade if its Heat Wave didn't miss, allowing for it to take 123 damage and get poisoned. It's okay though, I'll just do it again. Oh come on. Alright, so Super Hothead's out too, whatever. Tedhon knows Fly, so he's next in line to face Roserade, and immediately get hit with Shadow Ball. Luckily it doesn't KO, so I get out Fly, bringing me one step closer to the Hall of Fame. What happens next can only be described as a severe and continuous lapse in my judgment. I leave Tedhon out for a non-super effective Shadow Claw and Spiritomb, and y'all can assume what happened next. That's 3 punishments for me, which will feel like small price for success soon. Super Waddle-Doo knows Draining Fist, which is the only type of move super effective to Spiritomb, and it KOs, also while healing almost all of that Scald damage from earlier. My Lotic and Super Waddle-Doo are face to face again, except now I'm able to get out discharges and another KO. Victory is so close I can taste it, just 2 Pokemon left. I don't really have anything that's good against Lucario, so maybe another discharge can at least get it paralyzed. I don't get the paralysis, but Super Waddle-Doo's undying love for me allowed it for it to hold out a second Flash Cannon and KO Lucario with discharge. Unfortunately, Super Waddle-Doo succumbs to its burns, but its contribution here will never be forgotten. All that's left is my Super Chili versus her ace Garchomp. You'll remember earlier in the video I said I wanted to make sure I kept an Ice type on my team, and this is exactly why. Garchomp strikes first, which leaves Super Chili with a terrifying 4 HP. It whips up a 4-time super effective Blizzard and sends it Garchomp's way. In the face of death, Garchomp eats a berry. That's weird, what held item has he been holding? Oh god. The Yacht Berry gave Garchomp enough HP to grind Super Chili into a fine paste. I can't even be too upset that I lost, because even I understand the humor in my mistake. I guess it's time for the punishment lightning round to finish things off. Thinking about grass and the ways it could be used to punish me, I figure I'll roll down the entire hill that my parents' house is on. I saw a kid break their arm doing this once, so I figure the stakes are high enough to warrant it being a punishment.
My drink.
Not to pull back the velvet curtain, but on account of being a dog, there's obviously no hiding that this was recorded at the same time as the other fire punishment. There's good reason though. The punishment here is just a toothpick of Da-Bomb hot sauce. The reason is the super version is because I'm doing this less than 1 minute after the first one. Double Da-Bomb.
Not hiccuping though.
Yeah.
You know, Peter Griffin ate this sauce. He was on Hot Ones last week. Rule.
Like, was he like animated in
Yeah.
the show, or like the voice actor?
He sure was.
For Ghost, I wanted to go to a haunted house and record my experience, but all the ones around here are either out of budget for my preschool teacher's salary, or they let the scare actors touch you, and I don't feel like signing a release. So instead, we went to Spirit Halloween to put their animatronics to the test. Okay, so that wasn't scary, but honestly, trying to record this in a busy Spirit Halloween might have been the worst punishment so far. Electric was a hard one to think of a punishment for. A lot of ideas would have killed me, and some would have ended up with footage of me in a dog collar going around the internet, and that's just not something we can have. Ultimately, I landed on this nice electric fly swatter.
You gotta touch it hard enough so that it touches the other side.
I felt that one.
Lastly is ice and ground, which I couldn't think of anything abstract for, so I went with something quite literal. Dirt popsicle.
Dog!
Oh, nothing. I couldn't even bite through it.
Go.
As rough as these punishments were, this was still some of the most fun I've had doing a video in a long time. I loved this hack from Usino and getting to do the punishments with my friends in real life. Hopefully some of that fun came through for you all as well. I'd love to take the time for a long-winded outro, but I have to go wash the rest of this dirt popsicle out of my mouth. While I'm doing that, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It's free, so you'll always get your money's worth.